threatening to desert his party if the party deserts Israel.
That's my red line.
Good riddance. Why is the ogre threatening us with exactly what we want? I'm sure no one would mourn the loss of the greatest American traitor since Benedict Arnold. The AIPAC ogre is certainly mistaken if he thinks that he's got a political career ahead of him, especially with the direction that the party is going, leaving him looking like a complete moron.
Would it make you consider switching your party?
I'm saying, like, if they put that in our platform, that Israel, no aid for Israel, and officially become the anti-Israel party, then yeah, that's a red line for me. The Democrats, we've always should support Israel. That's our special ally, you know. Democrats in the only democracy in the entire region, that's Israel. So I'm always proud to stand with Israel.
And last question.
And I want to be clear, I've already said that ago. This is not new news, what I said yesterday, honestly.
What is that red line for you specifically? If that vote had passed yesterday?
I'm saying it's like if the Democratic Party officially says Israel is the problem, Israel doesn't deserve to exist, and I'm never going to support aid, and I'm not going to call out Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran are terrorists, and they are the problem in the region. It's never been about Israel.
That's our special little friend Israel. We should always help them commit a genocide, says Fetterman. See, that's why Republicans are throwing their support behind him, while his own party, and more importantly, the voters who elected him, want to see him booted out of the party before he can even quit. 52% of voters would like to see him leave the Democratic Party. Malloway from Quinnipiac says the Democrats would like to show him the door, the Republicans seem to be welcoming him in. Thus is the political irony of Senator John Fetterman. Yeah, ironic that the once Bernie bro has now found a new home on Fox News. So cozy, in fact, that even they are saying he's basically a host.
But John Fetterman, my co-host on Saturday in America, I joke he's not, but we have him on a lot because we like his reasonableness.
It's clear that Fetterman has always been a shithead whose love of Israel was once something he could keep under the rug. But genocide is a red line for most humans with a functioning frontal lobe. And so Fetterman knows that the only place that money is going to be coming now is from Netanyahu's pockets, hence the shameless debasement that he regularly subjects himself to for Israel.
I'm tired of hearing about this question of, like, you know, should Israel exist? It's like, yeah, 100%. It's not going anywhere, and I'm always gonna vote for whatever Israel needs, military, financial, or intelligent, whatever that it's then. You know, they are. It's a miracle, and it's a paragon of democracy and the kinds of values that we live here in our nation, in that entire region.
It is so over for him. If his own brain doesn't take him out, his wife will for putting her through all of this. There is no way at the end of this story that John Fetterman doesn't crawl back under the rock that he came from like Grendel. We can all feel the tides turning on him in real time.
My thinking about Hakeem is that he hasn't been the most effective minority leader at all, and the AIPAC situation is so blaring. What's your take on that?
The AIPAC situation is, I went to a meeting of CBC members, and this was in Mississippi, and I didn't get any applause for it, but I told them from the stage, you all have to divorce yourself from AIPAC. You have to divorce AIPAC. Like, that divorce needs to happen now. Because as long as AIPAC money is flowing into your coffers, you're never going to be truly free to tell the truth about our foreign policy. It's not going to ever be acceptable, even to MAGA people, to spend American tax dollars for a genocide.
Right. Fetterman is riding the AIPAC train directly into the gutter. His approval with the Democrats is 50 points underwater, while Republicans say they approve plus 65. But there's no way that MAGA would actually vote for him just because he's on Fox News. It's actually probably going to have the opposite effect. Just like when they put a DSA member on air. It just ends up backfiring on them spectacularly.
So you don't want to abolish the Senate, the United States Senate, because that's what Article 1 is.
The United States Senate is an undemocratic institution. It gives more representation to people in smaller states than to the 30 million people in California.
So you've got the House of Representatives, which is population driven, and then you've got the Senate. So every state, if you're a small state, you still get 2 senators, even though you only get maybe 1 congressman, in order to make all of the states have fair representation. So you say, I'm just confused.
When you ask normal Americans if Congress and the Senate and our political system is working for them, most people are very unhappy with the political system, and they say it's not working for them. When we think about the 250th anniversary of the United States, and we think about our proudest moments in US history, I think of times like when ordinary people rose up and they changed the Constitution to abolish slavery, to give women the right to vote.
Everyone's proud of that.
And
that's a nationwide pride in the country.
But back in those moments, those were considered radical movements because those people dared to say we need transformative change in the United States.
Right.
And I
well,
think
we
that
struggle to become a more perfect union. But I just want to ask you again, do you want to abolish the United States Senate? Because you said you approve of Article 1, but then you said you didn't think the Senate works.
We think that the Senate should be reformed, that we should have a more democratic government system. But that's a long-term change that we're seeking. And in the short term, we're focused on issues like affordability, like freezing the rent, which we've just done in New York, like creating a universal childcare system, which we're also taking steps toward doing, like fixing our energy grid.
It's almost endearing how the mainstream media is trying to fearmonger socialism. The Wall Street Journal sent a secret undercover reporter to a DSA meeting, and even they couldn't help themselves but feel the positive vibes. The new member social was a good time. Many of the attendees were charming and funny, and all were friendly. See, turns out good people with good policy are kind of hard to make sound scary. Even something like eliminating the Senate sounds extreme until you think about it for 2 seconds. Expanding the House in order to abolish the Senate is more democratic. MAGA wants you to think that the Founding Fathers upheld the Senate as this load-bearing pillar of our republic, until you actually look at what happened in history. In reality, the small state versus large state situation was much more of an issue back in the day because of technology and where we were in our mercantile economy. The anti-federalists had fears that the Senate would lead to an aristocracy and corruption, and that was clearly correct. Just look at John Fetterman. In reality, the Senate only serves to put land over people and continue to grind the gears of Congress to a screeching halt. And the beautiful part about democratic socialism is that you don't have to agree on this issue. Healthy debate on how to improve our democracy is what the great experiment was supposed to be all about, remember? So subscribe to US Democratic Socialists to continue the conversation. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.